Hey guys, so today I'm doing another get ready with me. I've actually had a pretty eventful, if you want to call it that, month since my last one of these, so I thought I would just do another one since I had a bunch of stuff to talk about and to tell you guys. I guess just one thing I'll say is, if you haven't figured out by now or noticed, I'm a pretty open book. Like, I don't have a problem telling you guys what's like going on in my life, and even if it's like really personal stuff, like some of the stuff it's painful and it's personal, but I don't have a problem telling you guys because I just feel like you guys are, I just feel close to a lot of you, and I just want to keep you guys like updated on my life and stuff. And I just want to say that after my last video, thank you to all of you that left me such like nice comments, and the few of you that reached out. I really appreciated that. Like, I kind of needed it at the time. I'm terrible at reaching out myself. Like, it's part of my weird I have social anxiety, like super bad. I can do this, I can like talk to you guys like this, but when I'm like in a group of people, like, it's bad. But I just want to thank you guys. You guys, I don't know, I've gotten so lucky. You guys are like the sweetest people that I've gotten the chance to meet, and I hope that one day I get to meet some of you in person. Like, that would be just amazing. So, but yeah, thank you guys for all the comments you left in my last video. I really appreciated all of them, and I just needed them at the time, and that's kind of stuff has been better since then. So I've got a lot of other stuff going on, but I just wanted to keep you guys updated on what's going on in my life, and this might be kind of long because I've got a lot of stuff. And yeah, so this might be kind of long, so just be aware. So my last get ready with me, I'm trying to think of when I filmed that. I think it had to have been like the first week of February. So since then, a lot of family stuff has happened, and I sort of made a vague reference to it on the post that I made on my last on the Get Ready With Me description or whatever. But I lost a family member, and I guess I'll just start with first what happened. So like late February, my dad ended up in the hospital because he's got like chronic kidney stone problems. Like, he's had kidney stones as long as I can remember, and he's had to go to the hospital a couple times for them, but this is the first time that he actually got admitted to the hospital. And then like he went to the ER and they checked him out and like did stuff, but like this is the first time he actually like stayed in the hospital, and they had to do surgery. So he had to have surgery twice because the kidney stones were too, like, first they thought it was just one. It was too big to pass. It was like, I think the passable size is like 6 millimeters or something, and then his was like 6.5, so it was too big to pass on his own. So they went in there to try to get it out, but it was so far back in his kidney that, you know how they do the surgery now where it's like through your gut or whatever, and they don't have to make like a huge incision. It's just like they go in with like microscopes and snippers or whatever. So they did that, and they got in there, but they realized they couldn't get it. So they had to do another surgery the next day where they went back in, but they went in with one of those like vibrator things that they've got. They've got like a machine that breaks up the kidney stones, but when they did, it was either an MRI or a CAT scan, or I don't know much about what happened, but they found other kidney stones. They found kidney stones in both of his kidneys. So he had like 6 kidney stones total. It was bad. So they went in there to try to break him up, and it took him like a week to recover and pass the majority, or pass what he could. So that first thing, that happened right before that might have happened, yeah, that was late February, the beginning of March, because we were supposed to go out of town, and my dad was supposed to go out of town too. So he was trying to recover before he went out of town. But so then my dad was in the hospital, and then he came out before I left town. So we went to Texas. My husband's from Texas, and his family's all still in Texas. So why were we going? His cousin, who is his goddaughter, was having a quinceañera, so we we were going there for that. But then we also planned for a couple of extra days so we could spend time with his family, because we don't see his family very often. To see them, we usually drive over there. Like, they've only come over here 3 times. They came over when we got married. They came over when my husband had his surgery 5 years ago. The anniversary of that's actually coming up pretty soon. And then they came over last June early, June or July, I can't remember. They came and they spent a week here. So usually we would go up every year, but it's gotten to the point now where my schedule and my husband's schedule, like, we have to plan vacations and stuff like pretty far in advance. So we don't get to go over there as much as we used to. So we went for this. We went for the quinceañeras. We spent a few days with them. I don't know when we'll go back. His sister's having another baby, and he wants to go back for that, but I don't know about that yet. So we'll see how that works out the rest of this year. So we went to Texas, and on the second day that we were there, we left on a Wednesday morning, and then on Thursday morning I got a call from my dad and found out that my grandpa passed away. So my dad's dad passed away, and my dad was really upset. There's like a long family history that I won't get into with my grandpa on my dad's side of the family. So my dad was upset, and he was like, I'll let you guys know when the funeral's going to be and whatever, because they wanted us to go, or he wanted us to be there for all that. And most of my dad's family is still in Washington. So so we would have to go up there for that. So we had to figure out that. So we got that call, or no, that must have been Friday. Was it Thursday or Friday? My grandpa died on Thursday. My dad must have called me Friday morning. I can't remember. But so then my dad went to Washington, and he ended up spending like 2.5 weeks up there dealing with all of that stuff. So we stayed in Texas through Sunday. We came back Sunday night, and then I worked the whole week because we found out the funeral wasn't going to be until the next Sunday. Sunday and Monday were going to be the funeral and the burial. So we found out we worked, so I got my time off, which is not a problem, but then my husband, it was much more of a hassle to get my husband's time off because his company is so stupid. Like, the way that they've got it set up online, or the rules that they've got for bereavement set up online are not what they were telling my husband was the truth or something. So it was a hassle to get my husband the time off. And eventually they ended up just approving him for some vacation, because my husband could put in vacation time, but it depends on if it gets approved or not based on what other people's plans were. So I guess when he had tried to do it originally, he tried to put in the vacation time. It wasn't going to get approved because, like, it was all of the scheduling was filled up already, so there was too many people who had already signed up for vacation. So then I went back or I told him, I was like, you need to tell them that they need to approve this. Like, they can't deny you bereavement. So he went back and they pushed it through, so they manually approved it because the system wouldn't have approved it. But that was like a 3-day ordeal getting that approved, and it just annoyed me, because it's like, you shouldn't have to fight to get time off when a family member dies. Like, that's wrong on so many levels. Like, you should be like, my wife's grandfather died, I need to take the time off, and they should just be like, okay, and there should be no question about it. Like, it's just dumb when companies make you jump through hoops to get time off for something like this. And I've never had to take bereavement time off, but I emailed my boss, or my department leader. I don't even technically have a boss still, but I don't even know that I've mentioned anything about that here, so that probably makes no sense to you, but I don't have a boss right now because my old boss left to be a department leader, and so I don't have a team leader. That's another story. I don't have time to get into that, but anyway, I emailed my department leader and I was just like, my grandpa died, I need time off, and he was just like, no problem, take whatever time you need. So I love where I work because they've just been so understanding about like everything that's gone on in my life. Like my husband's surgery, I took a bunch of time off for that because he was in the hospital twice, and I ended up taking like 2 weeks off. And then I worked from home for 6 weeks part-time because I was still working in the office at the time. So I worked from home for like 6 weeks while my husband healed and stuff because he couldn't do anything. He could do stuff, but he couldn't go back to work or go back to school or anything at the time. And then after the 6 weeks, I went back part-time in the office. So like I would work in the mornings and then I would come home for the rest of the day. And then eventually I went back into the office, but then a couple of years later, or a year or two later, I ended up working from home full-time anyway, so. But I like working from home. Office antics are not, I don't deal with them. I hate like being in the office and like hearing people talk and like not work, and I'm just over there I'm sitting there at my desk like working my butt off, and like other people are not doing their jobs. Like I even still have to deal with that from people on my team now who are supposed to be working from home, but then they're not doing their jobs either, you know. I guess you can never get away from it. There's always going to be somebody who's not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So anyway, so we got, my husband, that whole long thing. So my husband got the approved time off. So we left on, when did we leave? We left Saturday morning, early Saturday morning to go to Washington. So we went with my sister and her husband. We flew up there with them, and we had planned to sort of make it like a mini vacation too, because my husband and my sister's husband had never been to Washington. I hadn't been to Washington since like 2004. It's been like 11 years. And then we just sort of, like, even though we were going there for something sad, we sort of wanted to make the most out of it because we didn't know when we were going to be there again. And so we still wanted to do some stuff, and, you know. So, so we flew in to Seattle, and then we spent a little bit of time in Seattle. We went to Pike Place Market, and we had lunch, and we walked around, and that. So then after that, we drove to Chehalis, which is where my grandpa's girlfriend lives, and that's where my dad and my stepmom and all them were staying. So we drove into Chehalis, and that's where we ended up staying in the hotel. And then my family my grandpa lived in Mossy Rock. His house was in Mossy Rock. So that's where all the funeral and the cemetery and all that stuff it was in Mossy Rock. So we spent, let's see, the evening of Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, we spent those days in Mossy Rock for the funeral and the burial and stuff like that. And then Monday we went to Oregon. We drove down to Portland for the day because it's only like an hour and a half from Chehalis, or it's an hour. It's not that far. And then we went to this, so we went to Oregon, and the reason we wanted to go there is because they have this like giant bookstore. It's Powell's bookstore or something like that, where they have, it's like a city block. It's like 3 stories high, and they have like 1.5 million books. I wanted to go there for that, so we went to go see Pal's Books, and then when we were there, we went to Voodoo Donuts too, because they have some vegan donuts at Voodoo Donuts, so we did that. So we did that Monday, and then we drove back, and we drove back to Chehalis, and then Tuesday morning, we said goodbye to my dad, and because he was still staying there for Monday morning. What day did I leave? I left Tuesday. We left Tuesday. So Tuesday morning, we said goodbye to my dad, because he had to stay for another day or two. He ended up leaving Wednesday, so he came home Wednesday, the day after we left. So we said goodbye to him, and then we went back to Seattle, and we did the Space Needle, and we did they have a Chihuly exhibit there, which is the glass. I'll insert some pictures that I took, because we took some really good pictures of the stuff, so I'll insert some pictures while I'm talking, but so we did that Tuesday, and then we went home. We flew home. It was just like a stressful month. Like, we'd spent a lot of time traveling. My skin was like freaking out the whole time because it doesn't like when I travel, especially on the plane. Like, oh, I hate flying so much. And that was like, look at this. Jesse. That was like, we've already flown 4 times this year. I count there and back. So we've flown 4 times this year, both within like a 2-week time period of each other, which is, that's enough for me for like a long time. But, so yeah, so while we were in Mossy Rock, so we saw my grandpa's house. I feel like I've been there at least one time when I was a kid. It's been a long time since I've been to Washington for family stuff. The last time I was there for, I was in choir in high school, so I was there for like a choir trip. So it had been a long time since I'd been there for family stuff, and it was actually, everybody showed up from the family, which I was kind of surprised. So everybody showed up. So like my dad has 5 sisters, and then we've got 12 cousins, I think I counted, and then there were some great grandkids. So the only great grandkid that wasn't there was my sister's kid. They didn't bring her because they just didn't feel like she would understand, which is actually okay, because she would have been a pain in the butt the whole time. But my husband got to meet the entire family. Like, he's always asked about the family because nobody ever comes down to Arizona. They just don't. So he finally got to meet everybody in the family, all my dad's sisters and all of my cousins and stuff, and which is definitely interesting. I don't know, maybe at some point I'll go into like my family history, because it's weird. My family, just dealing with it is strange. So anyway, so we saw all the family. I got to see my grandpa's property. There's a lot of stuff going on in regards to like my grandpa's will and his house, and a lot of drama with my grandpa's third wife's kids are making it difficult. Like, his third wife wasn't my grandma, she was my step grandma, and well, I guess technically she's my grandma. I don't know how it works, but her kids are making, because my grandpa had 2 executors. He had one of my aunts, and then he had one of his third wife's kids as the executor, and the third wife's kid is making it difficult. She wants like everything sold because she wants her portion of the will. It's sad and it's terrible what's going on, and I'm not going to go into that much because I don't know all the details, and I don't want to get into that so much, but it's terrible what's going on. Like, and she didn't even come to the funeral, which I find the most despicable part of it. Is like, she's being such a pain in the ass, and frankly she's being a bitch about the whole thing, and she didn't even come to the funeral. It was terrible. And the stories I heard about her and the stuff that she had been doing to the family, it's like they just lost their dad, and you're being so like, I couldn't even believe what she was doing. It was terrible, and it's sad. And I guess they're still dealing with it, because my grandpa had, on his property, he has huge property. I think he had like 80 acres of property, and it's all trees, and what kind of trees was it? I can't remember now. He had some kind of tree, because he used to be a logger. He had like a logging company, and he had these trees, and his house was like made out of these trees, and like he just loved the trees. Like, there were trees all over his property. I'll insert some of those pictures too. And then him and my aunt had started sort of like a farm on their property. Like, they had goats, they had horses, they had cows and stuff. And my grandpa really loved like all the animals. Like, obviously at some point they were going to be food for somebody, which makes me sad, but you know, it is what it is. So my aunt wanted to continue like the farm on his property, but the stepsister to them now is making it, or the ex-stepsister is making it difficult for them to keep the property. Like, all the kids want to keep the property, they want to keep the house in the family, but she's making it extremely difficult because she wants her cut, which is just sick and sad. Anyway, I don't know where I'm getting at, but so the point is, my grandpa died, and the family, it's been hard for my family and all that. I'm sad that my grandpa died, because I never really got to know him. He lived in Washington. I only saw him maybe a handful of times my entire life. Like, he sent us Christmas cards every year, and my mom would send him pictures and talk to him every year. I didn't have the relationship with him that I would have liked. You know, I just wish that I had a different relationship. I just wish that I had a relationship with my grandpa, because I didn't really get to have one with my mom's grandpa because he died. My mom's mom died 12 years ago, or 13 years ago now, so I knew him when I was a kid, but the time that I knew him when he was a kid, he had health issues, like he had strokes, and he was in assisted living, and so by the time that, like, I think I only had a couple of years where I remember that he was in good health, and from the majority of the time that I remember him, he was not in good health, so I didn't really get to have that much of a relationship with him because he died when I was young, and the time that I did get to see him, he was not the same. He wasn't all there, and he didn't really remember us, and we couldn't do anything with him because he couldn't walk, okay, so then my dad's grandpa, he had some health issues the last couple of years. He had some strokes, and I don't know if he had a heart attack or not, so they knew that he was on the unhealthy side, but he was still living like a normal life up to the day that he died, because the way that he died, it was very sudden. It happened within like a minute. He said he wasn't feeling well, and then he sort of just went, and which honestly is probably the best way that someone can go, is without pain and without suffering. But it was hard for my dad because he had just talked to my grandpa like 2 days before, and then he was just gone. I'm more sad for my dad because I know that when my dad goes, because I know that I'm going to have a really hard time with my I know that I'm gonna have a really hard time, and I'm just more sad for my dad because I didn't have the relationship with my grandpa that grandkids should have with their grandparents. Like all my cousins and stuff, and their kids on my dad's side that live in Washington, had a good relationship with my grandpa, but because we lived down here and we didn't see them very often, like, I just didn't know him that well. So I'm sad that he died, but I'm more sad for my dad because he lost his dad, and I think I'm more just upset thinking about what could happen. I think I'm more just upset because I'm thinking about what could happen to my dad. Like, my dad he's not even 60 yet, but he doesn't take care of himself the way that he should, and I need to stop thinking about it. It's basically the point. Okay, so anyway, so my grandpa died, and we came home, and then, so we came home on the 17th, and today is the 28th. Today's the 28th. So a couple of days ago, my dad texts me, and he tells me that my grandma's in the hospital, so my dad's mom. So we just get back from Washington, and now my grandma's in the hospital. So at first they didn't know what it was. He said that so my grandma lives here. My grandma has lived here. So I've got a relationship with my grandma because she's the only grandma that I've got that lives here. My other grandma lives in Florida, my mom's mom. So I grew up with my grandma on my dad's side. Like, I went to her house every summer. She worked, I guess up until now, she worked at my dad's office. She was like their secretary. So I saw her every time that I would go in there, and we see her at Christmas, and like we see her more often. So I've got more of a relationship with her. Like, as I've gotten older, the relationship has changed a little bit. It's not the same as it used to be, obviously, but I've got more of a relationship with my grandma than I did with my grandpa. So we found out that my grandma was in the hospital. So my dad said she had like shortness of breath. She was feeling really tired. Her EKG was abnormal. So they didn't know exactly what it was yet. So then the next day I went down to my dad's office because my husband and I were there for an endocrinologist appointment that he had, and it's in the area where my dad works. So every time my husband has a doctor's office or a doctor's appointment over there, we go see my dad, since I don't really see my dad that much because he lives on the opposite side of town. Like, he's way over on the west side and I'm way over on the east side of town, so I don't get to see him that much either, which makes me sad too. But I guess that's another thing. Part of getting older is you just see your parents less, but I want to see my dad more. But anyway, so we get there Thursday. So today's Saturday, we went and saw my dad on Thursday. So we sit down and he's like, well, your grandma's been a bad grandma. And I was like, oh no, what does that mean? So I guess my grandma has been fighting breast cancer for 3 years and she didn't tell anybody. She told my aunt, one of my aunts, because she lives with her, and so she just needed to know. And then I guess one of my other aunts moved down here like a year ago or so, and so she told that aunt because she said she couldn't keep it a secret anymore, but she hadn't told anybody else. Like none of the other siblings knew. My dad didn't know, and she sees my dad every day. She said she didn't want to tell anybody because she didn't want anybody to take pity on her, which I don't think I don't think anybody would have taken pity on her. People want to know, like, because then, like, what if something unexpected happens like this, and then you just surprise people? So they found because they did some tests, and they found that there's like a mass there, and they think that the mass was what was causing the problems. So they found out that my grandma has breast cancer now, and she's been battling it on her own for 3 years, because I guess, so she's been doing it holistically, which doesn't surprise me, and which is honestly the way that I would do it, because I think radiation and chemo is sort of, because I don't want anybody to get like an idea that I'm saying that that's the wrong decision if that's the decision that you make, but that's not the decision that I would make. And I know that that's my dad doesn't understand the holistic thing because I'm more understandable to it because that's how I live my life. Like I don't want doctors, I think that doctors, I don't know how to say this without it coming off wrong, but I think doctors can help you to a certain extent under certain circumstances, but I don't think for everything that they're the right way to go. And so my grandma has been drinking this like special tea, and then I guess she was taking some sort of drug, tamoxifen or something. My dad didn't even know what it was, but I don't know what it is either, so I don't know. But she was taking something, and I guess it was getting smaller, so whatever she was doing was making the mass smaller. But she ran out of her prescription recently, and I don't know if she just never got it refilled, and then that's when she started having problems again. I don't know exactly what the deal is, but they found out that she's got breast cancer, so there's that. That's what my family's dealing with right now. So I think they just discharged her. And then on the 7th, she's got an appointment with an oncologist to figure out how bad it is, if there's anything they could do, like, because she still wants to battle it holistically. She doesn't want to do chemo. She doesn't want to do radiation. She wants to do it as naturally as possible. So I understand that. I don't think my dad does. So we're going to have to see how that plays out in the next couple of months. I hope to God, I'm just praying that my dad doesn't lose both of his parents in the same year, because that would just be terrible. But I'm not expecting to get emotional. Anyway, so I haven't talked about my makeup up until this point, but I'm going to talk about this. I don't usually like to do my brows because I think they're pretty like natural as it is anyway, but what I've been using when like this area, you can kind of see it's like a little bit like sparse right now. I don't know if like my hairs like came out or what, but I like to use this pencil I got in my Petal box a while ago. This is the eye defining pencil, and it's in soft brown. So it's like an eye pencil, but I find like the color works well, and I just put it in this area. I'll do one and I'll show you. So I just put it right here because that's where my my hairs are the sparsest. Like I don't have an issue, well, maybe like a little bit right there. I don't do too much anywhere else because I like the shape of my brows as it is, but it's just like right here in this area when it's like for some reason I've started to lose some hairs. So while it's growing back in, I just use this in that area to make it, you know, look like a little bit more natural, and it's not, you know, like I've got balding eyebrows or something. And I find that the color match is pretty decent. It's a little bit dark. I think it's darker than my hair, but I feel like it's okay. I did order, so I'm done talking about like my family stuff now. Like that's just what's been going on. Like my dad was in the hospital, and then I had a weird scare thing, which I don't know. My body is doing strange things right now, and I don't know if I had a miscarriage or I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know. I'm not going to talk about that because I don't know what happened. Anyway, my dad was in the hospital. I had some weird stuff that happened to me. My grandpa died. Now my grandma's in the hospital and she's battling cancer. That's what's going on right now. And it's just like, everything is just crazy right now. Hopefully everything, you know, I just pray for my family, guys, because they need it right now, and it's been hard. But anyway, so family stuff aside, I said, and this might have contributed to what I just did last night. So tonight is Saturday the 28th. I don't know when you're going to see this, but last night I sat on my computer at like midnight and made like 5 orders. I'm so bad. Like I said last year I wasn't going to make any new makeup purchases, and then I did. So I think my like depression about my family stuff has sort of contributed to what I did last night. So I needed like one thing really. I needed like the All Natural Face Magic Vegan Eye Primer, like the tube one with the doe foot applicator, because I lost mine when I was in Texas. I brought it with me and then I somehow lost it. I don't know what happened to it, but I couldn't find it. So I needed that. That's the only thing that I needed, and that's the only thing I was planning on getting. And then, so then I put that in my cart, and then I put like 5 eyeshadows in my cart. I don't need them, but I put them in there. So then I made a Silk Naturals order, and I bought like 7 eyeshadows, and I bought the pressing medium because I do want to try to press a lot of my eyeshadows. And when Oksana talked about it, she made it sound like super easy. So I bought a couple bottles of that because I've got a ton of eyeshadows that I want to press. So I bought that, and then I did buy 2 lipsticks. The thing that I didn't know about Silk Naturals lipsticks is a lot of them have dyes. Like I went and tried to look for just red lipsticks that don't have dyes because I do really like reds lately. And I couldn't find any red lipsticks that didn't have dyes. So I ended up buying 2, and they both got dyes in them, which I try to avoid, but anyway, so 2 lipsticks with dyes won't kill me. So then I think that's all. Oh, I bought a sample of their brow cream in medium brown. So I wanted to see if that would work better than this color, because this one isn't bad. It matches pretty well. But I want to see if that one would work just a little bit better. So I bought a sample of that color. And then I also made an iHerb order and a Vitacost order because we needed some things. They're pretty random. My husband needed mouthwash, but then we also needed some other stuff. So I made a Vitacost order and then an iHerb order. So, and then I also made a Breesia order. I bought so many eyeshadows and I don't know why. Ugh, God. Anyway, so I'll share all those with you when I get them. I know I said I wasn't going to do any hauls, but I wasn't planning on buying any makeup, which is why I said that. And then I went like kind of crazy last night. So I'll do an iHerb and a Vitacost haul together. I'll do those together, and then I'll do my Silk Naturals, All Natural Face, and Breesia haul in one video. So I'll have 2 different haul videos for you guys in the next couple of weeks. And then today I'm also going to film a Red Apple Lipstick recent purchases video, and then I've got the Pacifica, it's the Power of Love. I bought a few things from that collection, so I'm going to share that in another video too. So let me finish this because I probably look ridiculous with one eyebrow. I don't know if you can hear that. Oh, Jessie was snoring. Jessie snores, it's kind of funny. Anyway, okay, so that's what I've got for the next couple of weeks. What time is it? So right now it's 2:10. So today I still wanted to get out my Red Apple lipstick video and my Pacifica video. And then I also wanted to, I'm so behind. I wanted to do my winter favorites and have it posted on the day that spring officially became spring, because that's how I've been doing it in the past. But then all my family stuff happened and I was just like sort of out of sorts for a couple of weeks, and now I'm 2 weeks behind on getting that filmed. So it's by the time that I get that filmed and out, it's gonna be like a month past spring already. So my winter favorites I'm still working on, and then so that'll be out soon. And now let's do eyes. Okay, so I don't know what I'm doing. I've got a couple of colors. I'm like, essentially what I'm thinking I want to do is a gray smoky eye. with some colors from a company called Earth Diva Cosmetics. I really like their eyeshadows. I've had them for a while. Their eyeshadows, they have really pretty colors. And right now I'm just using the Buff Pot from the All Natural Face. I don't really like this, but it's what I've got for the moment. So hopefully my All Natural Face order comes in pretty fast. It seems like from what I'm hearing, people are starting to get their stuff in a reasonable amount of time. So hopefully that comes in soon. And then, so let's see, I've got these two colors. So I've got Driftwood, which is sort of like a, it's like, I'll do a swatch for you. It's sort of like a shimmery gray-brown color. I'm trying to like get a heavy. It looks different in the pot than it does like on a swatch. But it's a pretty color. And then Shell, which is like one of my favorite. This sort of reminds me of Bachelor Watson Abrija, but this one is a lot more shimmery, I think. I like this one. I pair Shell with a lot of like smokier colors. You can't really see it, but that's what I'm going to try to do right now. So I'll probably speed through that since I've pretty much talked about what I was planning on talking about. So family drama, or not, so family stuff, and then I don't know, stuff's going on with me that I don't quite know what's going on with my body. It's just decided to be strange all of a sudden. And it is starting to get so hot here. Like, it's like in the 90s already. It's like it jumped up from the 70s to the 90s, like while I was gone. It's terrible. So.
Are you tired of embarrassing facial hair?
Yes.
Introducing Finishing Touch Elite.
Oh, yay. Anyway, so then I guess the other thing which I forgot to mention is my skin is like being funky lately too. Like, I started taking these supplements, I started taking biotin to try to help with my hair, because my hair is pretty thin. But I've started to break out really bad like around here, which happened the last time I took biotin. I broke out really badly around like my jawline and stuff. So I'm trying to push through, like, it's a 30-day supply, so I'm trying to push through, because I've only made it through like 2 weeks of that supplement. So I'm trying to push through it to try to get to the end to see if it's like just regular hormone stuff that's making my face break out, or if it's the biotin, because if it's the biotin, I'm going to stop it after the 30 days, because I'd rather have thin hair and clear skin than crappy hair, or crappy skin and, you know, nice hair. But, so I'm trying to work through that, and then I'm also taking some other supplements. At some point, I'm going to do like a supplement video. I'm just trying to fine tune what I take and when I take them and stuff like that, because I've been very bad about like my supplements. Well, not bad, but like I don't do them as consistently as I should, and that probably contributes to part of my problems is I don't take my stuff when I should, so I'm trying to work on that. So I'll have a supplement video at some point in the future. That's something else that I'm working on. So I guess that's really it. I don't know why I talked about that. I was planning on talking about that in the beginning and then I forgot because I got into all the other stuff. So anyway, now I'm going to do my eye makeup and I'll talk after I'm done with that. So anyway, that's what I came up with. I don't know. I need work on my blending skills. My blending skills. The last thing I'm just going to do real quick, I'm trying to use up these little like sample pots of lip twists that I've got from Joppa Minerals, so, and I've got like mascara bits everywhere right now. So yeah, I'm just going to use, this is First Love, it's their like red color. I wasn't going to put anything like too crazy on because I was going to do like lip swatches on my next 2 videos, so I just wanted to do a little something. Help me use up these colors. Oh geez, now I got that everywhere too. I am a mess today. I'm a mess. That's everything for now. I said on my last one I was going to leave all the stuff I used down below, but then I never did. So this time I will leave all the things that I used down below in case you're interested. So that was quite long. I'm sorry if that was also very choppy and felt sort of all over the place. Like I just had a lot of stuff that when I have to talk about, or not when I have to talk about, but when I do talk about sort of more like personal things and more sort of like painful things, it's harder for me to get my words out. I do still have a little bit of issues, a little bit of trouble like speaking clearly, and maybe it just sounds that way in my head, but when I go to edit this later it'll probably be fine. But I don't know. If it's choppy, if it's all over the place, I'm sorry, but I just had some stuff to get out and get off my chest. So thank you for listening. I will see you in my next video, which will be far less depressing, and you'll actually see this one last. I always do that. I always do my get readies with me last. I don't know. It's just my thing, but you'll see this last, so you've already seen all my other stuff. So anyway, but the one after this will be less depressing. I don't know what it'll be yet, but it'll be less depressing. But thanks for listening, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.